You won't believe what happened when I refused to pay a dime to an HOA president who lost her mind. Picture this. I'm minding my own business, living my life, when suddenly, this woman shows up on my doorstep demanding money. But here's the kicker. I'm not even part of her HOA. I had no idea who she was or why she thought I owed anything, but she wasn't taking no for an answer. She starts going off, saying I need to pay fees for the neighborhood that I don't even live in. It gets worse. She starts threatening me with fines, acting like she's the boss of my property. I try to stay calm, explaining that I'm not in her HOA, but she doesn't want to listen. Instead, she starts raising her voice, accusing me of disrespecting her authority and making all kinds of wild demands. As I'm standing there, completely baffled, she goes off on a whole new level, and I realize I'm dealing with someone who's way out of line. But what happens next? You won't believe how this whole situation spirals. Stay tuned, because this crazy encounter takes an unexpected turn, and it's not over yet. At this point, I'm still trying to wrap my head around what's going on. The HOA president is standing there, practically shaking with anger, as she insists I've been spying on her community. She claims that somehow I'm benefiting from the services the HOA provides, even though I've never signed anything, never agreed to any terms, and definitely don't live in the neighborhood. It's like she's inventing problems that don't exist. I ask her to show me any documentation that proves I'm part of the HOA, and that's when things get even stranger. She goes quiet for a second, then starts making up stories about special assessments and neighborhood improvements that I'm supposedly responsible for. Her words are getting more and more tangled, and the anger in her eyes keeps growing. It's clear she's not backing down. But here's the real twist. She starts getting personal. She brings up stuff about my property, stuff she could have only known if she was spying on me. She mentions my yard, the trees in my front yard, and even the paint color of my house, all things I've never discussed with anyone in the HOA. It's like she's been keeping tabs on me for a while. At this point, I'm seriously questioning her motives. How did she know all this? Why is she so obsessed with me? And why is she willing to go this far? The tension is rising, and I'm starting to realize this situation could turn even more bizarre. At this point, I'm feeling trapped, like I stumbled into a mess I didn't sign up for. The HOA president, let's call her Karen, keeps circling around the topic, refusing to admit she's wrong. She's becoming more erratic by the second, throwing accusations about my disregard for the community and saying I'm making her job harder. I'm standing there, completely bewildered, wondering how someone can get so worked up over something so trivial. I've never seen this woman in my life, and yet here she is, acting like I'm the villain in her story. But then it hits me. It's not just about the money. It's not even about the HOA fees she's demanding. There's something deeper here, something I can't quite figure out. As she's ranting, I notice how she keeps looking around, almost like she's watching for someone or something. It's as if her whole focus isn't just on me, but on the bigger picture of her own authority. She's desperately trying to prove she's in control, and I'm starting to see cracks in that control. I realize she's not just angry at me for refusing to pay. She's angry at everyone who doesn't fall in line with her rules. The weirdest part, I start getting the sense that this isn't the first time she's tried to intimidate someone into paying these bogus fees. Maybe it's worked in the past, maybe it hasn't, but she seems to have this routine, like she's done this dance with other residents before. Then, out of nowhere, a neighbor walks by, someone I know casually, and they stop, overhearing the conversation. I can see the look in their eyes. They know something's off too. They ask Karen what's going on, but instead of backing down, Karen doubles down. She starts making even bolder threats, saying how everyone who doesn't comply will face consequences and ruin the harmony of the neighborhood. But the neighbor doesn't budge. They turn to me and say, "Don't worry, I've dealt with her before." That was a moment I hadn't expected. The fact that someone else knew about her tactics made everything feel even more surreal. I was starting to understand that this wasn't just a crazy encounter. It was part of a much bigger picture of manipulation, control, and perhaps even bullying. But why? What's her angle? Why is she so fixated on people paying fees they don't owe? The tension thickens as Karen's tone becomes more threatening, her face red with fury. But right before I can ask more questions, she storms off, muttering something about getting legal involved. The whole situation leaves me with more questions than answers. What happens next? Does she have more tricks up her sleeve? And just how far is she willing to go to get what she wants? After Karen storms off, I'm left standing there, heart pounding in my chest. The whole thing feels like a bad dream, but it's real. I look at my neighbor, who's still standing there, shaking his head like he's seen it all before. He's quiet for a moment, and I can feel the weight of everything he's holding back. Finally, he speaks up, his voice low. "You've got to be careful with her," he warns. "She's got this way of making people think they owe her something, and it's not just about the HOA, it's about control. People have had to deal with her for years, and she's always trying to manipulate the situation to get what she wants. This isn't the first time she's pulled something like this." I'm starting to get a clearer picture of what's going on here, but I still can't shake the feeling that I'm missing something huge. Why me? Why now? It's like Karen chose me to make an example out of, and I don't know why. I can't help but wonder if she's been watching me, waiting for the right moment to strike. The more I think about it, the more unsettling it becomes. A few days later, I get a letter in the mail from her. The envelope is official looking, with the HOA's logo stamped in bold print. I open it slowly, already feeling the tension build in my stomach. Inside, it's a demand letter, a warning that I violated HOA rules and owe hundreds of dollars in fees. The letter says if I don't pay within a week, they'll start taking legal action. This isn't just about intimidation anymore, it's a full-on threat. I'm stunned. Not only is this a blatant lie, but it's also a level of harassment I wasn't prepared for. I try calling the HOA's office, but Karen picks up. Her voice is smooth, calm now, almost too calm. She starts talking about fines, legal fees, and the importance of maintaining the integrity of the community. It's like she's reading from a script, completely unfazed by the fact that I'm not even part of her HOA. "I'll be following up in person," she says, almost casually. "We need to resolve this." My blood runs cold. The idea of her showing up again sends a wave of dread through me. It feels like she's cornering me, pushing me into a situation I can't escape from. I hang up, my mind racing. What's her endgame? Why is she so determined to drag me into this mess? The days drag on, and I know Karen is going to show up at my door again. I brace myself, feeling like the storm is about to hit. But this time, I'm ready. I won't let her intimidate me, but I'm starting to wonder if I'm in way over my head. What will happen when she comes back? What lengths will she go to if I stand my ground? The clock is ticking, and with each passing moment, the tension mounts, leaving me on edge, waiting for confrontation that feels inevitable. The days leading up to Karen's return feel like a countdown to disaster. I start locking my doors at night, keeping an eye out every time I hear a car pull into the driveway. But despite all the precautions, I can't shake the feeling that I'm in way deeper than I initially realized. The more I think about it, the more questions pile up. What's Karen really after? Why hasn't anyone else in the neighborhood spoken out about her before? Surely, I can't be the only one who's dealt with her, right? Then, just when I'm at the peak of my anxiety, something unexpected happens. One afternoon, as I'm grabbing the mail, I see a familiar car parked in front of my house. My stomach drops. It's Karen's car, but she doesn't come to the door. Instead, I see her talking to another neighbor down the street, someone I've barely spoken to before. I watch them from the window, straining to hear their conversation, but it's too far away. All I can catch are snippets of Karen's voice. Her tone is softer now, almost pleading. Curiosity gnaws at me, and I decide to take a walk down the block. As I approach, I hear the neighbor ask Karen why she's so determined to collect money from me when I don't even live in her HOA. Karen responds, but I can't make out what she's saying. Then, the neighbor shakes their head and walks away, leaving Karen standing in the street, looking frustrated. This is when I realize something strange. Karen isn't just trying to intimidate me, she's trying to recruit people. The next day, I get another letter, but this one is different. It's not from the HOA, it's from a lawyer, claiming I owe thousands of dollars for supposed property violations. The letter includes a list of charges that don't make sense, like parking violations and landscaping fines, things I never even knew were an issue. I'm starting to feel cornered, but it gets worse. As I'm reading through the letter, I notice something odd. At the bottom, there's a small line at the bottom of the page, almost hidden in the fine print. This matter was referred by Karen / last name, HOA president. Wait, Karen referred this case to a lawyer? She's taken this to a legal level without warning. And that conversation I overheard. I don't think she's just targeting me. She's spreading this around, trying to get others involved to create some kind of united front against me. But what's the real reason behind it? Now, I can't just ignore it. I have to take action before she drags me into something even bigger than I ever imagined. The stakes are higher than I thought, and I realize I'm facing a battle I never signed up for. The question now is, how far is Karen willing to go to get what she wants? And what's her endgame? I have to find out before it's too late. The tension in my chest tightens as the day Karen promised to show up draws closer. I'm ready for anything now. I've contacted a lawyer and gathered every piece of evidence I can find to prove I'm not part of her HOA, and certainly not responsible for any of these outrageous fees. But even with all the paperwork, there's a part of me that wonders if it'll be enough. Karen's not going to back down easily. The day arrives. I'm pacing around, waiting for the knock on the door that's been haunting me for days. It's mid-afternoon when I finally hear it, the sound of someone approaching my front steps. My heart races as I open the door, only to find not Karen, but the same neighbor who had warned me earlier. They look nervous, glancing around as if making sure no one's watching. Hey, they start. I just wanted to give you a heads up. Karen's been going around trying to get everyone to back her up, telling them you're a problem in the neighborhood. She's not going to stop until she gets what she wants. I'm stunned. My neighbor continues, but I'm not backing her. I know what she's doing, and it's not right. I've been talking to some of the others, and I've got a plan. Before I can ask any questions, there's a loud knock at my door. I open it to find Karen standing there, clipboard in hand, a smile that's more of a sneer. Well, she says, clearly relishing the moment. It's time to settle this once and for all. I take a deep breath, standing firm. Karen, you don't have a leg to stand on. I'm not in your HOA. I don't owe you a dime, and you've been harassing me for weeks. This stops now. She eyes me, trying to hold her ground, but I notice something shift in her expression. Her bravado starts to fade as she hesitates. Before she can respond, my neighbor steps forward. I've been talking to the other neighbors, they say loudly, drawing Karen's attention. And you're not going to intimidate anyone anymore. People are starting to figure out what you've been doing.